Welcome to the Gorilla video series. In this video, I'm going to show you a brand new feature in Gorilla Studio 9, which allows you to import scenes from an Excel file into your Stripboard. I can show you how that can be very beneficial if you are not importing from a screenplay program such as Final Draft, and for some reason you have your scenes in Excel and want to bring them into the Stripboard. Now you can also bring them into the breakdown sheets, and we do have another video on that. Let me go ahead, first of all, and launch this sample schedule. And under the File pull-down menu, there is an option that says Import Breakdown Sheets from Excel. Now what this allows you to do, now this is not what this tutorial is about, but what this option can do is that you can import breakdown sheets from an Excel file if they are formatted in this way. Use this screenshot as a legend to create your Excel file. So, for example, you can see here the columns, the scenes, and if you're doing a match, it would match on the scene number. Again, take a look at that video, Import Breakdown Sheets from Excel, if you want to see how to do that. Here's the sheet column, the IE column, the set column, the synopsis would be here, here would be the summary, and here would be the page count. So we do have this option that we've had for a while, but in this video, I'm going to show you how to import scenes from an Excel file into the Stripboard instead. And you should know the differences between both methods to choose which one you want to use. Okay. What I'm going to do now is go to my desktop, and if you go to the Gorilla 9 folder in Documents and select the Other Schedule Additions folder and then the Backup Stripboards folder, you will see a sample file called Restore Outside Program. I'm going to open this up in Excel, and this is just a sample of how to format it. So as you can see, I have some rows here. The blue row is not going to be imported. It is just a label, but it is required to have the first cell here labeled as shown, scene _ daybreak. So just leave that as it is. This over here in the second row is an ID from the project that it was exported from. So if you go to the Stripboard and export your Stripboard to Excel, you will see an ID here. But if you're creating this file from scratch, one that is not exported from Gorilla, then you don't need this row here at all. So I could delete this row because you don't really need it. So let's go ahead and delete the row. But this label, the scene _ daybreak label, should be here. So here is the scene number here in column A. And whenever you want to have a daybreak, you need to type in the words end of day, just as seen here. Now, I have them in bold. They don't have to be in bold on the spreadsheet. And then scene 103. And then if you want to have a banner, this is in brown. You don't have to have it in brown. But you should type in the word banner, colon, and then the text for the banner, in this case, breakfast. And then scene 104, scene 105, end of day, which again signifies a daybreak. Now notice that in this file there are no dates, because the dates are not brought in from the Excel file. The dates are created in Gorilla in shoot days, and I'm going to show you that when I do this. Now, when you export, let me go back to the desktop. These are all Excel files that were saved or backed up from Gorilla. So if I were to open this one, for example, notice that here is the project ID that it was exported from. Again, we don't need that if we are creating an isolated Excel file. Now here, it does say end of day number 1, and you will see a date. You will see this here because this file was exported from Gorilla. So that is why the date is there. But if I import this particular file back into Gorilla, With the restore function, which is what I'm going to show you, it doesn't matter what the day is here. It only matters that it says end of day. Aside from that, everything else is very similar. Let's go back here to this one, which is the sample. And then the sheet number here. And the synopsis here. So early morning sun hits the third floor of the office building is the synopsis. The INT or EXT, and you want to make sure that it is INT period or EXT period. This here is the set, and of course you can type in whatever the set is. And this, the day-night field, which of course is day, night, morning, afternoon, evening, etc. Now the board ID column here does not import because this import does not import the cast members. But the page count and the estimated time does import. And lastly, the location column does not import because Gorilla has a whole separate module for locations. So I'm going to save this file because I did delete row 2 there. I'll actually do a save as and name it restore outside program -2. And I'm going to keep it here in the backup Stripboards folder, which is where it should be. Again, this is an Excel file, as you can see here. So let's go ahead and save that. Okay, let's import the Stripboard into a new schedule. Let's first create a new schedule. Now, you're going to choose this option here, which is not chosen often. We are not importing a new screenplay, and we are not loading a Gorilla schedule. I'm going to click on Create New Schedule. Now I'm going to name this schedule Excel Stripboard Restore. That's just what I'm calling it. You should name it whatever the schedule name is. It's just going to create an empty file. If I click on it, by default, it does create one breakdown sheet. And we are going to delete this one breakdown sheet after I import the Excel file. The next thing you want to do is to create your shoot days. Now, of course, you can modify these later, but you do have to have at least one set of shoot days. Again, the shoot days are created in Gorilla. They are not created in this file. But you do need the end of day label to signify where the breaks are. So I'm going to leave this sample here. This is an 8 days shoot from the 23rd to the 30th. If I go back to the Excel file, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. That's exactly what this is. And I'm going to click on Create Single. And Gorilla asks, do you want to set this production phase as the default phase? I want to select yes. Next, Gorilla will ask you to create a stripboard for this phase, and I'm going to click on yes. It's going to ask you to name it. Now, it really doesn't matter what you name this board because we are actually going to delete this board. We just need one board so we can import a new one. And I will select this new phase we just created and click on Create Board. Basically, the board is just the days and the one blank breakdown sheet simply because that's all we have here. Now, what I'm going to do, this is the new option here, the new feature, which is Restore Board. I'm going to click this button. I'm going to find the Restore Outside Program to Excel file. That is what this file is right here. Now, it will give you this warning that you should only restore a file to the same schedule that it was created from. Now, I'm going to click on Continue because even though it's not, it's going to be fine because this is a new board. And then select the phase. Now, the next warning, Gorilla notices that this board is not from this project because it does not have that ID. And I'm going to go back here, and this is where it originally came from. I deleted this one row, but even if I did not delete it and it still had this ID here, it would be a different ID than the ID for the current project. So again, that's fine. It's just giving you a warning. I'm going to click on Yes, and if you click No here, of course, it will halt the import. And what it's going to do, as you will see, is it created a new board and imported the scenes from the Excel file. And you can see it brought in the day breaks and the banners. Let's take a look real quick at the Excel file. And you can see scene 101, which is right there. Early morning sun hits the office building. There is the synopsis. Interior morning. There is the IE field and the DN field. And office building, the set right there. And again, board IDs do not come in because it does not bring in cast members. So this could be completely empty. It doesn't matter. It would ignore this column. But the estimated time and the page count do come in. Let's delete that first blank breakdown sheet. We don't need it. So I'm going to click Delete. If I go to scene 102, now we don't have any breakdown elements, but we can start scheduling. Props and cast and set dressing, they are not in the Excel file to import, but this will give you something to start with if you're not importing from a screenplay or have exported your stripboard from another program or created your stripboard from scratch in Excel. A lot of options to choose from. There is one more thing we need to do, and that is to switch the default board to the board we just imported. If I click on the Stripboard button after closing the board, notice it shows you your shoot days but no strips. This is where that one blank strip was, which we deleted. The board that we imported is right here. So you want this to be the default board. In order to do that, you click on this button here, change the default to the Restore board. You can change the name if you want, and then delete this board right here. So now, if I close the board and reopen it, and there we go. We are on the right board. And we can now use this other new feature, which is split screen, and I can literally go through each scene. Let's double-click scene 101, and I can add a cast member. Let's go ahead and add one cast member here. And Mindy is right here, so scene 105. Let's go ahead and add Mindy. And you can see that the IDs come in right here. You can now begin to start adding elements, like more cast members and props, and things like that to your breakdown sheets. So this feature is actually part of the Backup Restore Board function. Just to see what it would look like, let me now back up this board. I will click on Save, then Backup. And here it tells you where the backup was saved. Let me note that the last four numbers here, 6667, so I can easily find it. And we're going to go to Documents, Gorilla 9, Other Schedule Additions, Backup Stripboards, and here's the file. If I open this and compare it to the file we actually initially imported, you will see that the files are very similar. For all intensive purposes, we can't say that this file was created in Excel, and this one was backed up. This here is the project ID, and the location field is going to be empty here, or not available, because there is no location specified yet for any of the breakdown sheets. Now this file will export the dates because they are drawing them from the shoot days in Gorilla. But in terms of importing back into Gorilla, it does not matter what the date here would be. It just has to say end of day to be flagged as a daybreak. Okay, great. And of course you can then drag and drop these strips to schedule your board. That's a wrap. Have a great shoot.